What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should like and sub, and let's get into this. Well, I'll try to contain my glee, but here we have 14%, and it's gonna go below 10. We're not even at the fourth episode, which is tonight. Pronouns tonight in Star Wars. That'll be fun. But we've already got at least they said whether it was true or not. We've had Immaculate Conception, the creation of twins with not even a joke. Two communist lesbian force witches. Yes, so that's where we are at the state of the Star Wars galaxy. But the real rub here is that the mainstream media, in almost the exact same thing that we saw with Gamergate, where, they don't have the same power they used to, the same tactics of attacking, gamers in Gamergate, but in this case, the fans, and that, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. It's no. No one hates Disney Star Wars more than George Lucas Star Wars fans. And we've seen that. And of course, we covered this. Forbes reporter Paul Tassi, who book for book was going by that old playthrough. I didn't understand all these moves were working before. They didn't know we learned how to slip and bob and weave and all that, and all their dumb, slow left and rights of calling us ists and phobes and bigots don't work anymore because we slipped right by them. And so here we go. Shout out to WDWPro, who basically has a little article here explaining that all that shit that you guys used to try on us doesn't work anymore. So enjoy those scores going lower, lower, and lower. And so here from WDWPro, let's get into this. The Acolyte defense, media attempts to save Star Wars with the Last Jedi strategy. It won't work. It won't work. It hasn't worked, and it can't work because that media does not have the clout that they did. And I hope that that's the point he's going to make. As always, I like to go into these fresh with you. But here we go. So Paul Tassi's latest Forbes article is an absolute disaster, so bad that there are writers for mainstream/legacy outlets who are considering rebuttals. The reason is clear. The Last Jedi strategy of shaming the audience isn't going to work, and of those who wish to maintain even a semblance of credibility. And there's not many of those people left, by the way. They're very, very few. In fact, I'd go so far as to argue that most of the people that only or still have clout and authenticity, they're on YouTube. They're not in the journalist media. So the reshuffle is happening quickly. Grace Randolph is running polls to figure out what her audience thinks of modern Star Wars. And to her shock, is sitting, and Eric Klain also is sitting at the Forbes doing his level best to make up for Tassi's insanity. It's hard to blame Tassi, though. He's just playing the old rules that rewarded journalists for sliming the fans of a franchise for institutional benefit. And again, same thing we saw in Gamergate, where the relationships between those developers and the game companies and the gaming journalists, they could just back any narrative they want, and any complaint, no matter how valid by us, was just, no, they're racist, they're sexist, they're toxic, spoiled little children who just want what they want. Sure, channels such as Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic sprang up out of the disaster that was The Last Jedi. Midnight's Edge became must-listen midday podcast fare, but to the mainstream media, these were perceived as limited in scope alternative ragtags who represented a tiny minority of outrageous scum. And you can't say that anymore, as we've just had repeated of Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic on Pierce Morgan and others. Mainstream medias are covering them more and more. We already knew they were talked about behind the scenes, and this is just further confirmation that more and more, and we got to be careful with this, we are becoming the mainstream. So let's make sure that we also don't fail or fall to those same evils. In other words, the politically inclined media analyst bubble types completely misgauged what was happening, and as a result, they failed to push the corporate narrative while simultaneously, and this is the rub, they pushed that corporate narrative while not simultaneously maintaining an air of authority. So they lost both. And we saw that with the Coof. They broadcast that narrative so far. They lost all of their authority when it turned out a lot of that shit was wrong. That's a thread they could have perhaps managed if they had been willing to sacrifice The Last Jedi for the greater good, but they couldn't. And an entire ecosystem of bifurcated voices sprang up as a result. Us, the YouTube, the pop culture analyst and commentator. Thank you, Ryan Roundhead Johnson and Kathy, for not having a singular idea. And it's great. Just a reminder, when we're talking about what timeline we're in as far as what to expect from Star Wars, we live in the timeline, in case you got it confused, where Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford were never put together in a scene as Han, Luke, and Leia. So here we are with the Acolyte. A few in the media are still running defense for the show, not many. And of course, led by Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, who I'm sure never led any woman to her. In today's world, however, logic is an afterthought, and the struggle for power reigns supreme. Since Leslie Headland is on the side of the institutional cultural gatekeepers, of which we need to gatekeep the shit out of it once we get it back, she must be defended at all costs until and unless they're given clearance to change their position. And we'll see, maybe if these Rotten Tomatoes keep going down, that clearance will come a lot sooner than they think. None of this is going to work. However, The Last Jedi is one of the biggest Barbra Streisand effects we've ever seen, and The Acolyte, following in much the same vein, is now a horrible show releasing in a world where opposing voices have full ability to articulate their reasonable viewpoints with digital runway for days. I was on Open Bar 99 with 24,000 people talking shit on The Acolyte. No mainstream journalist could stop that or interfere or try to slip their sneaky little ways in and try and say that it's all us complaining about nothing. No. When you have Disney Star Wars fans, Lucas Star Wars fans, the largest YouTuber for YouTube, and then just well-respected movie critics, and they're all crapping on it, yeah, you messed up. So yeah, in totality, in retrospect, it worked only because we allowed it to work. And this time, we're not letting it. So they can go ahead and scream and call us all the isms, and we just jump right through that. And like I said, this going to be under 10, possibly even after tonight's episode. So we will see you tomorrow to talk about that for sure. Anyway, let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And well,